With the everlasting Middle Eastern conflicts, very little surprises and nearly everything horrifies. No surprise then that Trump warned Putin prior to the missile strikes, thereby allowing evacuation of Russian personnel. Predictably, a Stop the War coalition picket of mainly Stalino-Trotskyites and other useful idiots materializes opposite Downing Street. Trump's cruise missiles, bad. Sarin gas and barrel bombs, fake news, or best ignored. Meanwhile, many of the Liberal commentariat have overnight transformed into missile attack cheerleaders, heaping reluctant praise upon the previously reviled Trumps, whose seemingly impulsive action was itself probably a knee-jerk ploy for higher approval ratings. After the comical Gibraltar rhetoric last week, this is an altogether different proposition. Yet, in reality, here in the UK, we're all just passive recipients of conflicting interest propaganda. We have, at best, a highly fragmented knowledge of the complicated, continuously shifting situation in Syria. It's all just one part of a deadly, cynical, hypocritical game. Just one example. Theresa May has just visited Saudi Arabia selling non-chemical weapons of mass destruction. These are directly employed by the Saudis in the terrible, barely reported civil war in the Yemen. The Saudis are also using mass starvation as another weapon. No stop the war pickets outside the Saudi embassy though. Bombing, armed intervention, who to support is decided in their own interests by governments, military and state bureaucrats. We have no input apart from our role as individualized spectators, skewed information consumers. One thing you won't get from the mainstream media concerning Syria is any information about the Rojava Revolution in the northeastern part of the country, predominantly Kurdish-led, but embracing Arabs, Yazidis, Syriacs and other minorities, a grassroots secular movement that has empowered women and thus enabling them to militarily defeat the islamo-fascists of Islamic State and al-nusra. They are attempting, with scarce resources and no national state support from any direction, only hostility, to provide a genuine model for Syria, the Middle East and beyond, which is revolutionary autonomous regions bringing together the varied communities and to create alternative non-hierarchical structures, self-sufficiency and neighbourhood assemblies, direct democracy with a conscious tinge of anarchism. It's a continuous changing situation, and this endeavour and the people involved truly merit our support. Every other political, religious player in Syria and beyond is only interested in power, domination, oppression and absolute control. Many of us anarchists are supportive of the revolution in Rojava and its neighbouring cantons. A handful have even gone out to actively participate. The ideology that drives this revolution, strangely enough, sprang from an internal re-evaluation by the p.k.k. and its imprisoned leader Abdullah Öcalan. After decades of armed struggle against the Turkish, Syrian, Iraqi and Iranian states, the Rojava Revolution is evolving in uncharted political and social waters in the middle of the Middle Eastern cauldron. Its female battalions, in the battle for Kobani, delivered defeat to the Islamo-fascists. These units contained many Yazidis, previous victims of IS genocide and enslavement. Realistically, the only meaningful action we can take on a mass scale is to pursue revolution here. This would have earthquake reverberations worldwide, Middle East included. I urge everyone to seek out information about the Rojava Revolution. Don't expect any enlightenment from the mainstream media. Trivialization is the best you can hope for. Our political classes, right, left and centre support authoritarian governments and factions, from Assad to the royal despots of Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states, plus covert support from the Islamo-fascists from many other quarters. Such is the murderous reality of capitalist politics. The latest round of talks are a meaningless sideshow, but with the usual deadly implications. Worldwide, we need to uproot and destroy the system before it destroys the planet and us. Bye.